Welcome. I will start in a couple of minutes.
When the girls them bodyguard, when the girls them love a dad. You want contest, they use you like mobile card. Excuse me, girl.
Yes, can I help you out there, brother? Please, I'm in a hurry. Sorry, you can't pay for my curry. Yeah, I know they told you to know look at it.
I don't get dollar, but I like Coca-Cola. I don't get Cinderella, but I get the formula. We make a popular, put this call it good Jamila.
I'm gonna let my way the beast, I'm gonna let my way on the give them that stick. Come show you out. I left my way feet, we gon' make up feel sweet.
You see you read? Salon girl, be a with you, man.
I don't want jealous, man, I don't let I don't mind. Salon man, be a with you, girl.
I don't get dollar, but I like Coca-Cola. Salon girl, be a with you, man.
I don't want jealous, man, I don't let I don't mind. Salon man, be a with you, girl.
I don't get dollar, but I like Coca-Cola. Woman and two man tumble, some man grumble. Let's say jealous, still up, you don't get trouble. Who's got for call if you woman not be humble?
What do you mean? You just me Africans. They don't listen, I expect to be queen. Why me also on the cloud, that my rings they won't change. If you mala, I hear you just thing.
How for you know say that they will let jealous man not get sense of responsibility and sequence. Money in the hand, back in the front, salon girl welcome and spend your score.
Salon girl with you, we can make money. We fresh like food, then I saw me body smooth.
Salon girl they get money.
Salon man, they too banana.
Salon girl, be a with you, man.
I don't want jealous, man, I don't let Salon man, be a with you, girl.
I don't get a lot, but I let Coca-Cola. Salon girl, be a with you, man.
I don't want jealous, man, I don't let Salon man, be a with you, girl.
Hey, Anthony. Good, Stanley. Yeah, I will start soon. I'll start in a minute or two. I'm just gonna fill some water.
Girl, you know I like you, especially the very first day when I see your face. Girl, you know I like you, what if I make a tell you down on my face? Girl, you know I like you, especially the very first day when I see your face. Girl, you know I like you, what if I make a tell you down on my face? Even if I let them on a slip, all the things I don't think about, baby, are you? Even if I see them on it, the first thing when they come from my mind, baby, are you? The very first I see your face.
So I want to say hi, thank you for joining in, thank you for being here, thank you for joining number 1 podcast, episode 6 on the open basket section of this podcast, which is a Pan-African podcast and a podcast for new thinkers, a platform for anyone that feel that they want to join the cause for a reframework on how we see Africa and how we want Africa to be seen by the world. Let me just adjust a little bit here. Yeah. So I want us to have or to form some form of power group to get a lot of our issues solved by the means and the ways of For example, discussing things that we do here on this podcast every Friday. As I said to you, Open Basket is here for the people and it's by the people. And we've made Open Basket an open platform for anyone that have any type of suggestion on what type of content you want for Greatest Africa to have. And hence the reason why I want you guys being more active in the comment section. And if you guys like Greatest Africa, if you guys like Open Basket, please do not hesitate. Go in, like, and subscribe as well. This live chat or live podcast will eventually be recorded and also seen after this session. So for every session that we do, even though it's live for the moment being, it will be recorded and then there for you guys to see and get back to, and rephrase certain things, certain ideas, and maybe we can come up with a consensus on what we actually want for our greatest Africa. And like I said before, there is a lot of things that are coming up on the platform as well. So like I said to you guys, if you can, please, if you have any type of information, if you have anything that you feel that you can contribute, as little as you want or as much as you want, please go in, contribute. We have a lot of different channels within the server itself. So please go in, get yourself some knowledge of self. If you like African music, put in some African music. If you like investment, put in the investment section. If you like, if you like economy and stuff like that, then African investment is of course for you. So news, world news, African news. We'll have also news when it comes to computer tech and technology, as well as also having African debates. We haven't had any debates yet in the channel, which of course will be something that we will be working on, doing some debates, because a lot of people have different ideas, and these different ideas is actually different ideas are quite hard for us all to calculate, because we're different people, different individuals. Hence the reason why we want to have a strong group where we can discuss and leave a lot of emotional things out the way, and get more factual, more realistic. That I think is very important for us to see things in a rational manner, and also we need to see things in as good scientific way as we can. Hence the reason why I'm having Open Basket for us here every Friday. So please, if anyone have any suggestion on what you want me to discuss more today or tonight, that we can then discuss afterwards, or the day after, when it comes to the VC section. So the VC section on the Discord, please join Discord if you haven't joined my Discord server, Greatest Africa. The link is on the description table. Like I told you about, the VC hasn't been that active, but hopefully we will get this more active. So if you guys hear anyone speaking, it might be the VC being on as well, because I have the VC on as well. Maybe I shouldn't have the VC on, but I'm having it now today. It's like a test and trial thing. Hopefully, people in the server as well can jump into the VC and listen a little bit more about what I'm discussing or what we are discussing. We have a comment here. You want to know more about me? Oh, there's a lot of things I can discuss when it comes to me as a person, as an individual. Some of the questions that have been asked in the comment section is my story, my background, education, motivation, and more. Yeah, I will discuss a little bit more about that as well. I see the smiley face as well. Yeah, my story, I mean, born and raised in Europe, always had a passion for Africa and its endeavors. I don't know why, I don't know the reason why, but I think it's something that came into me more intuitive. And the reason why I also want to do more involving Africa is because I have a passion in that section. I have a passion about African history myself. I've gone through a lot of history reading and know a lot about our ancient history in Africa. Hence the reason why I actually made Greatness Africa is because I wanted to form a forum where I can educate others about what I have been educating myself with for the last 15 years. So when it comes to Africa itself, long story short, have a lot of interest in it. I've been there myself. Also worked with a couple of friends of mine around 10 years ago. I was in South Africa 2012. And I was working with many of my comrades there. That's what we call ourselves when we are in the struggle. Worked with a lot of people living in South Africa, specifically Cape Town itself. I've worked with union workers, and we did a lot of demonstrations, manifestations for a lot of purposes, and most of them were very tragic. It's because there's a lot of issues evolving political issues or politically motivated issues that has been going on in South Africa and also across the world, but specifically there because I was there. I was involved in a lot of things. I saw a lot of things that shocked not only me but a lot of people that I know to the core, actually. And the reality on the ground was different from what I thought South Africa was. So a lot of people that I met, most of them that I met had the view of 1994 being the change. No, it wasn't actually a change for them. Hence the reason why they never seen a change after the apartheid system. Hence the reason why I really felt sorry. Like, I don't understand, fighting for a cause and then all of a sudden, still ending up in the same type of seat. It hasn't, now maybe it has changed a little bit more. But from where I was, when I saw the things I saw, I can tell you right now, nothing changed. Like when it comes to the infrastructure bits, people, the segregation, mass segregation that I saw haven't changed at all. And the stories that I learned when it came to apartheid system itself was shocking. I mean, 50 years of institutional racism. I can't even imagine, how these people felt, how these people lived. 1994 was the day or the year South Africa was free. I mean, can you even understand how crazy that is? 1994. Yeah, so Africa has a lot to work on. We have a lot to work on. A lot to work on. My background, like I told you already, born and raised in Europe, being an East African, specifically Ethiopian, Somalilander as well. People might not like it, but yeah. Motivation. I mean, what motivated me to do Greatest Africa or Africa was specifically to educate or to re-educate the masses, re-educate us, re-educate our young, re-educate our old, to make them understand that, you're there for a reason. I mean, everything is a reason. Everything has a reason. The reason why I'm here, standing here, speaking to you guys, there's always a reason behind every man's action. It's a reason behind every man's action. And the motivation that I had was mostly because of the history, because of the knowledge that I brought within these 15 years, understanding Africa more, understanding its roots, understanding its historical, historical impact into what life is here on the Western Hemisphere. I mean, if it wasn't for Africa, you wouldn't see things the way it is today. You wouldn't see, buildings built the way it is built today if it wasn't for Africans. I mean, we wouldn't see time the same way. We wouldn't see navigation the same way. We wouldn't see astronomy the same way. We wouldn't see geology the same way. We wouldn't see geometry the same way, mathematics the same way. We wouldn't see anything that we see today the same if it wasn't for the African continent and what it has actually brought forth. It is not a dark continent. It is a light continent, a continent filled with mysteries and filled with tales, filled with history. It's filled with passion. It's filled with knowledge, education. It's filled with so much, but it feels that the people are still poor, which I don't understand. These are dynamics I don't understand. I don't understand the reason why Africa is in the situation it is today. It's a much better situation than what it was maybe 50, 60 years ago. Yeah. I mean, post-colonialism, but still, or even pre-colonialism, still, we still see a lot of issues. We still see a lot of, problems evolving our continent. And I saw another type of question here from the description section, talking about every leader has a story. Yes, and I mean, I also want to tell you about my background when it comes to activism. So before I went to South Africa 2012, I actually formed a group called the Panthers, where I used to live in Scandinavia, and it was one of the best organizations ever found in that region within those years of activism. I do have, we do have 3 documentaries about this, which I actually haven't had time to put up on the server, but I will. These 3 documentaries talks about our day-to-day struggle, the things that we wanted to do, the things that we wanted to build in the municipality and the area where I used to live, by doing certain activities like demonstrations as well. So the first demonstration that we ever had was a demonstration where we went up to the politician's office. We had around 300 people behind us going and occupying the politician's office. And the politician himself said, what are you guys doing here? And he didn't understand. He didn't even know that we actually planned this demonstration. We went up, we occupied the area, we occupied the actual room where the politicians were sitting. It was around 11 politicians having their meeting. We stopped the meeting and we demanded certain things in our neighborhood because it was a lot of things that actually didn't work out. And after we stopped organizing in that area, a lot of things happened because we got blocked by bureaucracy, by politicians. We were blocked. Every time we tried to do something, they just blocked us. And the block was more money-wise. So they blocked our organization. They did not want us to further do any type of, demonstrations or any type of activity in that area because we were too political in our way of organizing. But I will put that thing up again. It's 3 documentaries. They all speak about our story, what we wanted for the youths in that area, etc. I see a question or somebody saying, I think it was Stanley saying, please describe. And I want to know, what do you want me to describe? What do you want me to describe? Describe my story, background, education, motivation. Yeah, education. I'm a geologist. I study geology. Hopefully, that will give me a lot of education and do my thing as well. What more do you want me to do? I will say. Okay, so I can jump into what I actually wanted to discuss today, which was a factor or factors affecting economic growth in Africa, which I will put up right now. Just give me a second. Yeah. So, are people still there? Yes, perfect. All right. So I will discuss this factors affecting economic growth in Africa. So list of factors affecting. I got this actually from. Let me see. EPIL's FI Congress, some type of economic forum, and I will just discuss this the factors, different factors affecting economic growth in Africa. If you guys have any questions, please ask them on the actual section here where people comment. Please put that as a comment if you have any questions, and I will answer them as soon as I can. But for now, I will discuss the factors affecting economic growth in Africa. So a list of economic factors affecting housing market, that's the first one. The country's labor continues to struggle, being absorbed in the labor market, let alone finding good and sustainable employment, hindering potential economic growth and development. South Africa has so many positive economic growth attributes, specifically South Africa itself, as it is the country with one of the best infrastructures in Africa itself. Has a lot of positive economic growth attributes that it also has. It's difficult to believe that it cannot succeed in achieving high economic growth going forward. A new classical utility framework was used to analyze linkages between family size decisions and socio-economic variables. In their revision, students should consider factors such as poor infrastructure. They have quite good infrastructure in South Africa. Human capital, primary product dependency, such as factors exclude outside influences like import costs, colonialism, foreign aid, external debt, and other countries' economic policies, which also have a major impact. The rate of economic growth is the annual percentage increase in real GDP and is expressed as a comparison to the various quarters of the year. Water Research Commission, WRC, in Pretoria, South Africa. Here are 5 key factors or events to keep an eye on in 2020. While the average growth rate was well below the rate achieved by a handful of East Asian economies, it also exceeded the growth rate attained by many developing countries in other regions. Cities in Africa are projected to accommodate an additional 950 million people during the period. Generally, the economic growth of a country is adversely affected when there is a sharp rise in the prices of goods and services. Several factors contributed both positively and negatively to the changes in livestock numbers. So the chapter 3 here provides empirical evidence of factors affecting corruption, economic growth, with particularly attention given to the impact of United Nations Convention Against Corruption, UNCAC, of the level of corruption and GDP per capita in Sub-Saharan Africa, SSA. External factors, a joint project also undertaken by the Brookings Global Economic and Social Policy in Latin America Initiative, ESPLA, and the Africa Growth Initiative, AGI. It uses cross-country data for around 76 countries from 2010, 2005, and 2000, and also 1995. The study established that a positive relationship exists between economic factors and SME growth. External factors, a joint project undertaken by the Brookings Global and Latin America ESPLA, The paper will analyze. Very good question. Very good, very good. I will come to that. The paper will analyze one by one the factors that causes the decline in growth, those that tend to be recovered or recovery, and also the remaining challenges for the acceleration of growth. Many households in South Africa are under a financial strain because of slow economic growth, low employment levels, and high interest rates. Really bad. The country is suffering from the same global trend as many other developing markets, with falling commodity prices and the threat of rising interest rates taking their toll. A lot can be changed in a year, and also a message that from PwC's 22nd annual Global CEO Survey. Children are symbol of well-being, both socially and economically. Selection and peer review under the responsibility of Parahuangan Catholic University, researchers propose the study aims to analyze and understand factors affecting labor absorption in South Africa. At the start of this year, Muhammadu, the president, now president of Nigeria, was re-elected as president in Nigeria on a similar pledge to fight corruption. We haven't seen that, while strengthening national security and economy. Major factors affecting the increase in population growth, certain economic marketing aspects such as technology, inflation, and interest rates affect customers purchasing and the purchasing power, consumption power, the power of consumption. We have a lot of power when it comes to consuming things, but we don't have any power when it comes to actually building things. Factors affecting economic growth in Africa are many lessons from Africa or from China as well. Question number 11. However, with time, man has been able to adjust, and several factors hinder SA economic growth. Africa has seen remarkable turnaround in economic growth beginning in the mid-90s. South Africa annual population growth rate in traditional sectors is around 2.9%. This paper is an attempt to examine the demographic, socioeconomic, and cultural factors for fertility differentiation in Nepal as well. The capital is important for driving structural transformation and improving competitiveness in the early stage of economic development. Now, please, let's just discuss the above factors affecting the growth of tourism. In this case, an investigation into the factors affecting GDP per capita in relation to a country's development level would help define ways of avoiding growth slowdown, and also the MIT. Our results suggests that domestic investment, net ODA, inflows, education, government effectiveness, urban population, and mental prices positively, significantly affected Africa's economic growth. The increase in capital investment in viable projects results in increase in profits, which also help in accelerating the process of capital formation. As you see, this is one of those things that we need to understand when it comes to economic growth in Africa. The reduced tourism impact on firm and general industries. At the same time, in spite of recent slight slowdown, Chinese economy growth and its capacity to move in 30 years from underdevelopment and extreme poverty to emerging global economy, urban and rural differences in the adaptation of demographic factors of contraception or contraceptives is the highest in sub-Saharan Africa, where the rate is more than twice as high as different studies have identified, such as demographic change among the urban and among the rural in the surveyed eventually. The leaders in May, Cyril Ramaphosa was elected president of South Africa with a commitment to promote economic growth and fight corruption. It also takes a panel data approach for the period 1982 to 2000 of a sample of 19 countries, factors affecting agricultural production in northern Ethiopia, and also doctors of literature and philosophy. There was a lot of professors in and within Ethiopia that had a lot of investigation when it came to the economic effect agricultural production has as well. And however, these factors also such as decreasing numbers of farmers, land reform, good question. That's true. That's 100% true there, Stanley. Of course, it also has, you can't break a solid foundation, like you said. If the foundation is solid, we are in a different situation. And as also Mr. IC3 also said, there was corruption, and corruption is a big problem in Africa. It's all over the world actually, but it's in different forms. So corruption in Africa is quite blunt, like it's really blunt. Like they don't actually care because there's nobody actually looking at them, nobody watching them and stuff like that. But in Europe and in the West, you also have corruption, but you have it in a different way. These different ways are ways by contractors. So the politicians, they become politicians, whatever, la 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 la, and then they have the politicians themselves, have a hand in certain companies. So they have a hand in certain companies, have a percentage within those companies, which means they're making money on contracts that they are doing as contractors as well. So, for instance, like if they want to build a road, they build a road. They say, "Oh, we're going to build a road." Oh, and the government is behind the cost. But who owns the company? The company is share owned by the same politician that wants to do the road. So what happens? Corruption. So corruption is nothing new, and it's nothing that is specifically in Africa. You can see corruption everywhere. It's rampant and it's everywhere. It doesn't matter what country you are in, you will see corruption, but you will see it in different forms, in different shapes. In the West, they use it by the way of contractors. But in Africa, they're more blunt, the politicians, and their way of being a corrupt person or individual. Sorry, I just had to take a sip of drink of water. The economic growth is usually measured in nominal terms, such as inflation, or the real terms can be adjusted for the inflation. However, the estimates of this disaggregated components of economic freedom data shows that the size of governments, negative effects, and the freedom of to trade internationally, positive effects, appear as significant in the lights of the above justification. In this study itself, the researchers will also attempt to identify factors affecting growth of micro and small enterprise in a town in Ethiopia as well. Factors affecting economic growth in Nigeria are social and economic issues, which includes corruption. That's one of them. Poor infrastructure as well. That's one big. Inflation as well. And the worth of the naira as well has shrunk a lot. To mention by a few, South Africa's economy fortunes have improved dramatically since 1994. In fact, the signs of economic turnaround are already evident. With high economic growth and growing wages, people can spend more money on housing, improving applications, and boosting prices. What are some of the main barriers to economic growth and development? Economic growth is also influenced by the indirect factors, news of an outbreak of any type of disease that prevents tourism or tourists from traveling to the countries where the outbreak has been, and also you have a lot of other types of important issues involving Africa as well. While food imports have increased in most SSA countries, the region relies mainly on domestic production for the bulk of its food consumption, which has to be changed very soon. We also understand the different economic factors when it comes to, like I said, factory building, industry. We need to get better on certain things in Africa, especially when it comes to the growth of our own economy. So the latest political analysis and economic growth summary through 2011 for South Africa from the Economist Intelligence Unit. This can lead to increased political and social turmoil, which often accompany boom or bust economy cycles. Social, economic, and attitudinal factors. This study notes also covers aspects of economic growth and development in South Africa. However, the numbers of SSGS is noted to have declined from as early as 2000s to the present time. This is so sad to see that it has declined so much. They also discussed the factors affecting economic growth in sub-Saharan Africa, where there was a long period of stationary growth, no growth at all, until 2000 or 1000 BCE. This is very, 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 very long time ago, when the world's population was approximately 300 million people. This was followed by a period of slow growth from 1000 BCE currently. Africa has also witnessing growth in urbanization and also population. So, guys, there's a lot of issues, a lot of things that we can discuss here today. Please, if you have anything that we can discuss today, just discuss the factors affecting economic growth in Africa. We can also check the latest, what's going on, news, whatever, to compensate this understanding as well. And it comes to economic growth, etc., etc. The Zambian president is saying that progress has been made on economic recovery, which is good. He is a president that wanted to fight corruption quite bad, and he managed to do a lot. We'll see. When it's gone maybe a year or two. We'll see how far that president has come. By 5 months after taking over a heavily indebted country, the new government of Zambia itself is making significant progress in recovery of its own economy, its credibility, says the President Hichilema. With loans estimated around 12.7 billion euros. That's a lot of debt, a third of which is due to Chinese creditors and other Western countries as well. The country had also become last year in the first in Africa to have defaulted on its debt since the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic due to the lack of agreements between previous governments and creditors. After 100 days in power and intense negotiations, the new government and the president obtained a promise of around 1.24 billion euros in aid from the IMF, which is not bad, not good at all. You don't need any more loans from the IMF. We don't need any more money from them. They said at the beginning of December, they've loaned the country more than 1.2 billion euros. And a chance for the country, which has been strangled by colossal debt, to get its head above the water. But you're actually just drowning yourself even more. I don't understand that. The debt problem could have plunged the new government into crisis as well. But they also managed to manage this default quickly by asking for a quick loan, of course, by IMF. There's no good creditors. According to him, it was a question of credibility, seriousness to join the gesture to the world. There is no doubts about it. I don't know, man. I don't know. Hopefully, that debt can be paid off very quickly. He also declared during an interview given to the occasions of a trip to Johannesburg as well as South Africa. A 3-year agreement in principle was conceded on the government's commitment to undertake deep economic reform. All right. Not bad, not bad. He wanted to do something for his country and he had to do anything he take to recover his economy, which was in very big debt. Okay, it says here some of the businessmen. Let me see here. And a businessman from Cameroon is saying that he wants hope to win as a big host of AFCON. Okay, Cameroon hosts AFCON after the tournament was postponed twice. It is estimated that the state has invested no less than 760 million euros in the country's sport infrastructure and in the development of other facilities prior to hosting the events, which is good. They also had another thing coming up, startup funding in Africa. The funding spotlight turned towards Africa in 2021 as a startup broke funding records, raising close to $5 billion across the continent. That represents more than double the investment attracted in 2020. While the $5 billion in import is important for Africa on a global scale, startups also notched 201 billion in 2021, with Latin America startup top on the lists having more than 300% year-over-year growth. We have more in the video above. That's from Africa News, which is good. Some good news there coming from Africa itself. If you guys have no other questions that we are going to discuss today, we can actually start wrapping it up, or we can have another topic to discuss about as well. What do we have? It's a lot of interesting news from Africa. Yeah, there's some tropical storms that leaves a lot of destruction as well in southeast of Africa, mainly countries like Madagascar and Malawi. Terrible. But it's also because of the infrastructure that we have. We don't have the type of, when it comes to agriculture, we don't have the type of systems that can maintain the amount of water coming down, raining. Thing is, we have too much, we have deforested so much forests in Africa, so the more forests we cut, what happens is that the soil itself becomes impermeable. What happens is that the water that comes on the soil itself just runs off. And that creates floods. So what do Africa need? We need to plant more trees and stop cutting so many trees if you want to prevent any further, natural disasters in Africa. We want to, preserve the forests that we have, or else you will see a lot more floods. And we don't want that, because the trees are flood, flood trappers. They trap the flood. They trap water underneath them and slowly gives out water, which means the land becomes more fertile. So that's why you need to, plant more trees. Not every tree is a good tree, but you need to plant trees. You need to know your trees. You need to know your agricultural knowledge to do these things. Yeah, so if you guys don't have any more questions, we can start wrapping up this session of Open Baskets. I'll say thank you for everyone that tuned in, and thank you for everyone that feel that this space gives us some form of togetherness, in a way that we can discuss things, we can come to a consensus, through a lot of other issues that we have and go through. I'm very thankful to have people here every Friday, and I will continue having these discussions every Friday. I see that there's a lot of people that want these discussions every Friday, and we will have these discussions every Friday. And I'm happy to help you. If you want to help me, I'll help you. So please, guys, go in, check this out. Please go into the server as well. Join the Discord server, Greatest Africa. If you have anything that you want to further discuss, please do it there as well. If you have any more questions, you can put them there, and we can actually save them for the next session next week. And also, if you guys want to have like a pop-up thing, like a Q&A for tomorrow, we can actually do that tomorrow. If you guys want to have a Q&A tomorrow, we can do that as well. I want to say thank you for tuning into Greatest Africa, and I hope this has given you the information, motivation, to get yourself more politically mature, and also understand that there is a lot of things that you and I can do together if we work together in these forums that we have built together. Because I don't want to say that I built it myself. I want to say that I built it with you guys, because you are the foundation. So I want you guys to be as much involved in this great change as I am. Please join me on my Discord server again. Whenever you guys want to have a discussion, you can easily just put that on the Speak Your Minds section, or African debates, world news, whatever. There's a lot of channels there to use. Guys, use them. They are all there for you. Thank you guys for tuning in, and power to the people. Thank you.